Have you noticed any birds today? My guess is that even if you looked out your window just once today, you probably saw some birds. They're all around us. And in this video, we're going to be paying extra special attention to birds. Welcome to another video visit from the American Folk Art Museum. My name is Elizabeth Gronke, and our special task today will be looking for birds in folk art. Now, today happens to be the first day of autumn, and this is a great time of year to be paying attention to birds because many birds are in their fall migration. Now, in folk art, you can find them any time of the year. So, I want to ask you to ask yourself a question as we look at this art. What is it about birds that make them such a beautiful and interesting subject for us? Why do we pay such close attention to them? Do they have a special meaning to you? Are there certain birds that you always pay attention to? Think about that as we look at different pieces of art. The first artwork I want to show you is a sculpture. Take a look at this bird. It's a very specific and realistic looking sculpture. Do you know what kind of bird it's representing? If you do, please tell someone who's near you. If you're not sure, take some guesses. What does it look like to you? Notice the nice curving neck and the long back. It looks like it could float in water, right? In fact, this is a bird sculpture that was made to float on water. It's a decoy, and it was carved and painted by someone named Ira Hudson. He was one of the most prolific decoy carvers in his area of Virginia. And this particular bird is a Canada goose. Now, a goose is a very appropriate thing to be noticing at the start of fall. You're going to be seeing them probably in the sky, flying in groups, sometimes in the shape of a V, as they migrate south. They honk loudly and they draw a lot of attention to themselves. I like to imagine the artist, Ira Hudson, paying very close attention to the birds around him and how he put those details into this sculpture. Are there any details that you notice that you like in this sculpture? If you want to, you could pause the video and talk about what you're noticing. Now, because I'm not a hunter and I don't want to use that sculpture as a decoy, I want to think about it as art. And what can a goose symbolize? Let's think about that for a moment. For me, I think a wild goose, symbolizes transition, change of seasons. Also, the way they fly together and fly in flocks and they cooperate, a goose can symbolize cooperation as well. Also, that call, that loud cry of theirs, has been mentioned in poetry as a symbol of wildness. So if I had that sculpture in my house, I'd be thinking about those symbols. What would it mean to you to have that goose sculpture in your house? The next artwork I want to show you is a domesticated animal, but it's still full of symbolism. You'll see. What we're looking at is a very brightly colored quilt, and there are birds in some of the squares. I'm zooming in really slowly so you can get a closer look at what these birds are. Take a guess as to what you think they might be. I think the biggest clue are those nice, plump, round bodies and colorful wings and the way those beaks stick out. Let's go back to looking at the whole thing. This is called Hen's Quilt, and it was made by Pearlie Posey in 1981, when Pearlie Posey herself was 87 years old. She and her daughter, Sarah Mary Taylor, were both known in their lifetimes for their skillful, artful quilting traditions. They were shown in museum exhibitions, even in feature films. And even though they had this national recognition, from what I've read, Pearlie Posey considered this art form deeply personal and an expression of her love for her children. Now that you know that these are hens in the quilt, does that give you a different feeling about it? What could hens or chickens symbolize for you? For me, when I know that these are hens in particular, the ones that care for their little chicks, the ones that make a delicious dinner sometimes, it gives me a very warm, cozy feeling that goes really well with the idea of wrapping myself up in a quilt. I just love that quilt. Do you like it? Chicken imagery is amazing. When you start looking for it, you see it everywhere across centuries, across cultures. The next bird we're going to look at can also be found across time and culture, but it's different yet again. Wow, look at this bird. This is a bird making a statement, and I think it's fairly recognizable as an eagle. And not just any eagle, an American eagle. This is actually a weather vane that is currently on display at the American Folk Art Museum in their exhibition called American Weather Vanes: The Art of the Winds. What gives this piece extra significance is the possibility that this weather vane was made in the foundry of Paul Revere. This is when the bald eagle had just recently become a symbol of the United States, which was just a new country at the time. When you see a symbol like this, what does it make you think of? If you want to, you could pause the video and share with each other what this image makes you think of. How does it make you feel? If I were to use 3 words to describe this bird, I would call it fierce, strong, free. Have you ever seen a bald eagle in the wild, flying around in nature? I'm happy to say that I have before, and I can tell you that it is a heart stopping moment when you see a bald eagle flying. They're big, they're smart looking, and they're very graceful. It's understandable that we as a country and so many other countries have chosen eagles as a symbol of strength. So let's go back to our question at the beginning of this video. What are some birds that have meant something to you? Birds obviously can symbolize a lot for people. Let's take a quick review of the birds that we've looked at in this video. We've seen a carefully crafted Canada goose decoy that can symbolize anything from cooperation to wildness. We saw a colorful and cozy quilt with hens on it that can represent warmth and the love of a mother. We've seen a striking and powerful looking eagle that can represent our country and strength in general. I hope this little bit of bird watching that we've done today in folk art will inspire you to get outside or look out your window and do some bird watching in your own area. My invitation to you with this video is to do some more bird watching through the American Folk Art Museum's website, which I have listed below. All you have to do is click the word that says collection and type in the word bird or start scrolling, and I swear to you, you will find so many birds in our collection. Choose one and send me an email at this email address and share with me some of the birds that caught your eye. Thank you for joining me today. It's been a pleasure to have another video visit with you.